The people that put you in Facebook jail.
I understand.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
Happy week between Christmas and New Year's.
Happy almost end of 2020.
Can you believe it? Oh,
boy.
It's amazing to think about what's happened this year and our hope for next year. And wow. So I guess we could introduce ourselves. My name is Christine Baumgartner. My company is The Perfect Catch. I'm a dating and relationship coach. And this is my fabulous co-host, Barry Selby.
I'm Barry Selby. I'm independent. I don't have a company at this point. I'm launching one soon, I think. But right now, I'm me. So my website, all my stuff is all Barry Selby. It's easy to find me. So I'm a love and relationship coach, specifically working more and more now with women who are healing the grief of their heartbreak. I'm calling it that because that's really where my natural tendency goes towards. Because dating and mating happens after that, and I want to help people. I want to help my clients really stand up into the truth, so they can have what they really want. Anyway, that's another time.
Love that. It's really I find we have such a symbiotic relationship, the two of us, and the way that we coach and the clients that we help and the way that we have our conversations. It's just been such a delight that we just keep feeding into each other. And there's just so many places that we connect, because so often we find in relationships of any sort, professional, personal, romantic, there's a lot of this, lot of communication. So yeah, I look forward to every time we're going to talk, because it's like, what are we going to talk about? Within the context of the subject, what subjects are going to come up? It always feels very rich and rewarding to me personally.
Same for me too. I love these times because it's almost like having a conversation with a good friend, and people get to watch us talk. So it's like, I love this because it's not about us teaching other people as much as it is about sharing, understanding each other. And like, oh, I understand that. I love this too. Let's talk about this. And then people will hopefully get value from that, which is great. Isn't
that the best? That it's so good for us that we feel like it really hopefully is going to be good for other people too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Since it is this time of year, we should be doing a little teaching. I know the title I think I threw out there, which was the one that Cece pulled up for us, which is, your New Year's resolutions. Yeah, that's it. Your same old New Year's resolutions that won't work.
Because if they did, is your life where you want it to be?
Exactly.
They want to be. Were you able to keep them? So that's a whole subject. If you do them, you keep them. If you can't keep them, then they're probably not the right thing for you, at least at that moment, right?
Right. So this topic is going away from the relationship-only centric conversation because it can include that. Mm-hmm. But basically, we want to make sure everybody who's thinking about making New Year's resolutions has a new thought about it, because we want to teach them some things.
Yes. And I think it's going to be centered on your relationship with yourself, to yourself. That if you don't have clear communication with yourself, if you're not centered with what it is you need and want for yourself, and how to get it, how to give it to you, how to receive it if somebody else goes to give it to you, well, then the rest of it is not going to go very smoothly. And so I think that could be a really rich way of creating a resolution.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, that's the fun part of this. It is, that's the thing, really. All our talks have always been about relationship with self first. And so this is really more focused on the first than it is on the second, which is the relationship with other people. So let's get into it, shall we?
Oh, yes, I'm excited. So, I was thinking about this subject when we came up with it, of what do people normally make resolutions about? We have to address that because it's very similar a lot, losing weight, getting more healthy, stop smoking, stop drinking, exercise more, a relationship. It was so funny. I volunteer at this ranch for children with special needs, and we can't do the classes right now, but we did have a drive-through for the families to come with Santa, and they could have a picture with Santa far apart and the horses far apart. And it was so funny because when the Santa had this beautiful embroidered European outfit. And so we were all setting up and we said, so do we get wishes? And he goes, because it was all women, he goes, and I just want you to know, none of it can include men. Because women are always asking me for men. I can't give you men. You have to ask for something else. It was so funny. And I thought, relationship. So there it is. We'll ask for that too. So all of those things are lovely things to want. And they could make our life better and how many people keep their resolutions when they make those, and why do they not? Why doesn't it work? Why does it not stick? The sticking, right?
Well, not much the sticking, but the actual result you asked for to show up.
Yes. Yeah.
Because most resolutions are often about, they're not destination focused as much as they are process focused, meaning that it's not about, I want to get to this weight. It's more about, I want to lose so much weight. Or it's not, I want to be healthy. It's that I want to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing what I was doing before. And the thing is, when you say I want to stop doing something, you never know if you stopped until you never start again. So there's no destination, which is not working. And frankly, I do a lot of work with languaging in my work with my clients too. And the idea about stopping anything doesn't work, because to bring in the law of attraction as a mindset, but also the way we talk to ourselves, it's kind of like, to quote, I think it's Henry Ford said this, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Yes.
And that's the point, is that if you say that you want to stop drinking, well, the thing is about it is, to spin it the other way, is that it's not so much about that you want to stop anything, but the focus is that when you say something about into the universe, into the world, into whatever you call it, and you say that you want this thing or you don't want this thing, what you focus on is this thing. So if you say, I don't want to smoke anymore, what you're focusing on is not on the don't, it's on the smoking. So any resolution or any promise or any intention that is negative based, where it's like, I'm not going to do this, or I don't want to do this, it's not going to work. So first of all, switch the language to what you want to have and create and affirm. It's like affirmations, not disaffirmations. It's affirmations, which means you affirm what you want. So first of all, languaging is key. But the second piece, I think, with resolutions, and it is about resolutions having a short lifespan. They tend to run maybe to middle of January if you're lucky.
Yeah, maybe. They're going to make it to the end of the month, usually, yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to romantic ones, they never last till Valentine's Day. So
no, isn't that the truth? That's the truth.
So it's really about that doesn't work. So what does work? And for me, what I work with a lot of terms sounds so simple, is the power of what I call the power of intention. Because intention is to intend something. So what are you doing? It's almost like you're saying, I intend to have a certain result. So what you're doing is you're leaning into that direction automatically. It's almost reflex. You don't even think about it, you're doing it, but you're actually leaning towards where you want to go. So intentions and the way you frame them is actually a very simple thing you do, switch from resolution to intention, and it changes everything.
Yeah.
So,
and one of the things I always want people to look at when they say, I want to stop doing this and I want to start doing this, well, the first thing I think we need to look at is, why do you do this thing you think you want to stop? And I'll ask them, what do you think is the benefit? And because they want to stop it, they think there's no benefit. And I go, well, typically, high 90 percentile, human beings do not continue doing something unless there is a benefit, even though you don't think of it as a benefit.
Right.
So I've talked to people about smoking, and I go, so what's the benefit? Why did you start? Oh, well, I wanted to fit in with people. Everybody else was doing it. It was something to do with my hands. It made me feel grown up. Well, those are all really good reasons. We want to feel belonging. We want to feel mature. We want to not fidget. Okay. So what else can you do to feel like you fit in, to feel like you're grown up, to not fidget with your hands? I mean, I do honor that I didn't ever smoke, but I honor the nicotine addiction part, which is a whole different piece of the changing. But if you don't change why you did it and have a substitute, there needs to be a substitute that makes you still feel good, then you're not going to switch. So if you think you're going to go exercise because it's going to get you less weight, what's the benefit for overeating? What's the benefit of eating cakes and cookies and stuff? Makes you feel cozy, makes you feel, maybe it was the way you got rewarded for good behavior as a child. Maybe it's a way that you love to bake and you feel happy that you've baked. So, okay, how else can you get that same feeling? And what good way, how can you start feeling good about, and you are such a perfect example that you started baking and you started walking. I mean, you put those two pieces so clearly together that to know this is why I like baking. This is the positive way it makes me feel. And I'm going to pretend I'm reading your mind, because I'd love for you to talk about it. But I'm going to go walking because it makes me feel good. I can brag about it. And I'm going to take these fabulous, I mean, really fabulous pictures. Fuck. I mean, really, all these places, I'm like, where is he in LA? I've been in LA and I've never seen half of those places. So
Right.
aren't those great incentives for exercising, which most people don't like that word at all.
Right.
You're getting out in the world and fresh air and taking pictures and get to brag about, this is how far I walked today, or I rode my bike today. So that is the way that you need, it's a more successful way of saying, I want to do something differently. Don't you think?
Absolutely. I'm going to go back and well, I want to go back and say a couple of things about what you said, because when I was younger, I did smoke, and also did get drunk quite a few times when I was a very young kid. But back in England, I was out drinking when I was 16, so not supposed to be, but we did. So, but the thing about both those things is that I never had an addiction with them. I mean, smoking was definitely to fit in. Smoking was to be cool. It was, and the funny thing is, I never really enjoyed smoking, except what it got me. So for me, when I gave up smoking, it was realizing that the price I was paying of smoking, which is not so much the toxicity, as the fact I hated the smell on my clothes and in my car and in my stuff, that I gave up smoking because it didn't work for me. And I'm lucky that I didn't have the addiction. Nicotine wasn't the thing. It didn't pull me in that way. And with drinking, it was, I mean, by the time I was 24, I hated how I felt afterwards. And I also hated the lack of control I had. Not so I was a control freak at the time, although I was slightly, but drinking took me out of that way.
Control freak in training,
right? But the great thing, but I'm grateful for the fact I didn't need to go through 12-step or have an aversion to drink alcohol at all. I mean, I still drink a glass of wine every couple of weeks. A Scotch once in a while. Those are treats, but it's not a thing I have to have. Whenever I had that have to, so I'm grateful for that. But the recognition is that I realized that ultimately those things I did was to fit in with the group of people I was with. It was so I could belong. It was the price I paid through that was so I could have the benefit of feeling like I fit in, and I was comfortable that way. So I agree with you on that one. The second piece that I'll speak to, though, is where'd it go? That thought went straight through. The recognition for me is also in the thing. I was speaking about the thing about the baking and the walking. I think the walking came first, because when we had the lockdown, and it's funny because up until we had the lockdown back in March here, I would go for a bike ride once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks. And during that time, I wasn't riding at all. I drive everywhere. So what happened was, because we couldn't go out, I had to go out. my antithesis is the wrong word, but my aversion to being stuck in the place. So I'd go out for walks around the neighborhood. It started out literally as I'd get out the house once a day, because it was safe enough to do that, to walk around the neighborhood. Don't go close to people, wear the mask, all that sort of stuff. But I got out the house. And then slowly but surely, I realized I want to do something more and more. And then when the bread started happening, because the sourdough requirement of being in isolation was now a thing, I was thinking, well, let me step it up a little bit. And so I started basically getting the bike out and going and riding to the park, and then go for a walk around. It's a trail park, I think, go walking around the park. And then a few months ago, I got my Apple Watch, which is one of the best subconscious trainers there is.
Oh. It's just on you all the time.
And so I get little things on it when I've accomplished goals. It's like it's almost Pavlovian in a way, because it's like it goes ding, like, oh, yeah, exactly. I go, oh, I got something. Look at my watch. But
you get a prize.
Well, it's funny because on that just sidebar on that note, we had a pretty heavy rain a couple of days ago here, and it was pretty heavy rain, and so I wasn't going to go to the park, and I wasn't going to ride my bike in it. So I basically walked around the neighborhood when there was a gap in the storm, but I had to go further, because when I did my walk and came back again, I noticed that I hadn't completed what on the fitness app on the phone, it's called the rings. You have to complete the rings, and I'm like, damn, I didn't get enough, so I had to go out and do a bit more to get the rings. And then yesterday, and then 2 days ago, I because it was cold, I was wearing socks and I didn't have the slippers on, and I came down the stairs, which I've carpeted, and I slipped. And so I landed smack just above my tailbone. So I'm grateful I bruised myself. I didn't break anything. So I've been a little bit cautious the last couple of days. But the thing is because I didn't want to ride the bike yesterday, and it was a clear night, I said to go out for a walk. But I'm going for two, because the first walk didn't do enough to get my ring. So even though I don't have a personal coach or a personal trainer, the phone and the watch are very effective for self-training. So that was one little thing there. So the truth was with the fitness thing was really because it was more about my mental fitness more than my physical fitness. You know, I've been on my computer all the time, even before the lockdown, because of my coaching and writing and work I was doing. And so I found myself needing to have a break. So in fact, even though the side effect is, yes, I'm working off some of the calories from the bread, so to speak, and the other things I'm cooking and baking, but I'm actually doing more from my mental fitness more than my physical fitness.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I am getting stronger and fitter because I'm riding a bike a few miles every day, and I'm walking a few miles a day every day up down hills too. So I'm feeling the physical benefits of that going, yes, I feel stronger. But the truth is, I just feel more centered because I'm getting out of my head. So those sort of things really work too. I'm not sure that fits into the New Year's resolutions, but that's part of the experience is having, because one of the things also, as you said before, about what you get out of it is when you set clear intentions where you want to go, again, versus where you don't want to go, what is the benefit you're looking for? Because it may be a certain result you want to get. But the reality is that what you're looking for? Or is it the benefit the result gives you? So dropping the weight, releasing the weight. Oh, that was the other one that came in. For some people, by the way, losing weight isn't necessarily, or I should say, some people why they have the weight is not because necessarily they love their cooking or because they want to enjoy certain things. For some people, especially some of my clients I've had this with, for female clients especially, having extra weight is a way of hiding, which is a much deeper level. I know we're not talking about it now, but it's a deeper level we come with. And recognizing that sometimes weight is to avoid being noticed. It's such a strong aversion. There's no way that even if you say my resolution this year is going to get fit, you'll never get there because the attachment to that safety is much stronger, commitment to the goal. So a New Year's resolution on its own, and I say use intentions versus resolution, needs to have more weight, more value to you than what you're leaving behind. Now, that's a whole hour conversation on its own separately from that. But just want to drop that seed in case somebody's thinking about why they never get their goals. It's like, well, maybe you've got to watch what you're really attached to at the beginning that you're not willing to let go of to get where you want to go.
I love using the word value because what's valuable to you and feeling safe is very valuable, especially to women. And if they've had a trauma, they've been abused, raped. I mean, I've talked to lots of women, as you have, that's the main reason. And they even sort of kind of understand why they've put the weight on. And why would they want to lose the weight and make themselves more visible for the kind of male attention that is scary to them?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that is a whole different conversation that we will certainly make sure that we talk about.
Yeah.
So if in fact that is the reason, then you can think about a different goal. If that's not your attainable goal right now, how can you feel the best at your weight right now? Which doesn't mean you're going to stay in it forever. And what I find is the more comfortable I am and my clients are with how they look right now, the easier. You're nodding. You know where I'm going with it.
I know, yeah.
the less hard. I won't even say easy. That's not fair. The less hard it is to now say, I'd like to do something different with my weight and my health and how my body looks. Because if you're mad at your body and mad at yourself and so unhappy, that is less motivation to do something more healthy. Don't you think?
It's building the wall higher that you can't get over. Yes, so literally it is more challenging. And that is the thing. And we both talk about self-love as part of that work too. And for me, really clearly, is when you can love your body, as we're on that subject, with even more celebration, joy, upliftment, when it's not the way you want it to be, when it is, in quotes, too much, too heavy, too big, whatever that is for you, that's not aligned to your truth, or too skinny, even if you're on that side of the fence.
Sure.
When you can love yourself that way, then changing it becomes a lot easier because you're not attached to a wrongness. Because that's the thing about this protection thing for a lot of clients, is that being so attached to that wrongness means that any desire to change it is building up against this wall that you just can't get through. So recognition is that it's almost the saying where you get more result with honey versus vinegar. Honey than vinegar, right? Yeah, I knew it was in there somewhere. Thank you. But the understanding is that when you're being more self-appreciative and self-loving and self-supportive, making changes in your internal structure and your external structure as well is much easier because, again, because you're using honey versus vinegar in that sense, you're appreciating what you have So then you can change where you want to go, because what you end up doing is creating more cooperation inwardly.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part. The partner side because that partner side that's afraid doesn't want to cooperate with anything. It's going to fight you. If you say, I'm going to change you. It's like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you'd never want to work with them if they did that to you.
No, we're going to be the rebellious 2-year-old when that happens.
Right.
2-year-olds they're very stubborn.
Right.
So to think about, a resolution means changing something, altering something, making something different. What is a more positive way to look at a resolution? And then, so what is a more positive way to look at something you'd like to change? And then how can you reward yourself for doing it? Because I think I am big on bribing myself and bribe, because that's also part of the 2-year-old. They're like, oh, I get to do this after. Sometimes you have to come up with new things because, as I said, some of the rewards before were a piece of cake. Well, my rewards are I get to phone a friend. When I go do something that I'm like, okay, this is my new habit I'm learning to do. And I know when I get it done, or my thing is when I go on walks, I call friends that I haven't talked to in a while and I set it up with them, and I'm going to be walking for an hour. Do you want to chat, for part of it? And so it goes by fast and I feel like I've reconnected with somebody that's important to me. So that's my bribe. I have to have a bribe. And I am so fine with a bribe, because the last thing I want this to do is to feel like punishment, because that's just going to throw the whole thing out the window. Right. So how can you make it feel positive, this new habit, whatever the habit is? And the other thing, and people hear this all the time, take teeny little steps, little steps. You're not going to do whatever. You're not going to stop smoking tomorrow or lose weight tomorrow. You need to build up slowly and reward yourself a lot. There
was something I remember learning in my master's program. We did this demonstration in the first year, where they basically set up a grid on the floor with tape on the carpet in the middle of the classroom, and we basically have this layout where it'd be like a ring, called ring toss. You have a little cross leg little post. Then you have little rings that you throw and catch on the rings. It's like like a game you get at a fun fair, but this is just basically had these at their class. And basically what we do is you'd have the tape on the floor marked out in 3-foot lines out to 33 feet. And then you have the pins start out 33 feet away. And then you'd have, I think it was like 4 rings, not 5, 4 rings. And the goal is you had to basically get those rings onto the pin. And you could basically, what happened was, and the thing was, you want to get the greatest score. So basically, 33 would be the biggest score, times 4. So basically, what you do is you can throw from anywhere on those lines, any line you want to go to, and then you get it on the pin. You get it on the pin, great. If you don't get the pin, you don't get to take over. So the thing is, people just go, well, I'm going to go from the first pin, going to throw it 33 feet, get it on, there'll be 33 points, scored. The thing was, I saw this happen so many times. Lots of people did it, and we found this out, is that unless you threw the ring from less than 6 feet, from 9 feet rather, so 6 feet or 3 feet, the odds of getting it on the pin were very slim. Once in a blue moon, you might get one from 20 feet, 21 feet, but not from 33, never. So what we learned was the best thing to do was to throw all 4 rings, because you do it from 3 feet away, you can reach over and just drop it on the pin, because that's close. Yeah. So you get 4 every time.
Yeah.
So the lesson we took, and we talked about the class for the next 2 years, because it was the beginning of the class. We called them 3-foot tosses, because of 3-foot distance to the pin. Because every time we looked at a challenge or an opportunity or a goal, we'd look at it and go, well, that goal seems so far away. But yes, if you do 3-foot tosses, we get there much quicker. Mm-hmm. So recognizing that taking baby steps, like you said, it's like doing these single steps to get there. Because the journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step. Getting there, the goal may be so far out there that it's going to take you 6 months to get there or a year to get there. But if you can break it down to steps, you can take that are easy and minimal effort. You get there much faster.
Such a good point. And I have a point to make about it too, but we'll do it after the break.
I had a feeling.
Right back with Christine and Barry.
See you in a minute. Echo notifications.
Traffic to the Mission application at North Hollywood looks a little sluggish. The fastest route takes about 36 minutes via I-10 and
Echo
S1
off.
Avenue.
Echo. Okay.
We're talking about why your past New Year's resolutions have not worked.
Right.
So you just made this really good point about taking things one small bite at a time, like how they always say, how to eat an elephant, one small bite. Yes. And what I think is the other side of the coin of that is that with regularity, you stop wherever you are, there's your goal, and you turn around and you go, wow, look how far I've come.
Yep.
Because we're constantly with goals, we're constantly moving. That's really good. I'm glad that we have the impetus to keep moving and having, energy about it. But it can be exhausting if you think, oh, it's still out there. Where when you stop and you go, well, this is why I'm a little tired, because look at what I've done. And wow, so my thing, I've been, doing all this physical therapy for my foot.
Yeah.
And because I see myself every day, I think, oh, it's just not going very fast and I'm not making much improvement. And so then my physical therapist person comes twice a week and I know she does not bullshit me. She said, I see the improvement. So that is really helpful for me to be able to get it from the outside, because I can't see myself, that I can hop better on my left leg now than I was in the beginning.
Right.
That, how do you do that for yourself? And then can you have some sort of an accountability person that says, you've been checking in with them about smoking or eating differently or walking a little more every day, that they say, oh, wow, I remember where you were 2 weeks ago and look where you are now, to help you even appreciate it more. Because I think sometimes we aren't as good about doing the appreciation part for ourselves, even though it's a good thing to learn. Oh, look at the face. Yeah, we've heard about it, and we've seen it in movies.
Right.
That it's so important. It's certainly what keeps me, besides my immediate rewards, my good job. Look at what you've done. Good job. That kind of reward, to do it for myself and to get it from other people. It says, oh, okay, I'm going to keep doing this because I am making improvements. I am seeing. So if it's not going to be just a scale, or you get to see rewards on your watch, whatever it is you're going to do differently, set up a reward system and an appreciation how far you've come system. Or I think that that's a lot why people give up.
Oh, absolutely. It is the thing about when you set up a goal, the big frustration on a lot of people is that they look at a goal and it's so far out there that they give up before they even get there because it's too far away. So by breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, as you put it, and having that recognition that you can take a step at a time, a step at a time, a step at a time, not only that you can take a step at a time, but go, look at what I did. It's almost like if you're climbing the mountain, you have base camps along the way. You don't just climb the whole mountain because, one, it's going to be almost impossible. Secondly, it's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make your goals easier? Because the truth is, we can have an easier life than we think.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go, life is so hard, I'm going to work so hard and be so stressed. It's like, it's no fun. So if you're going to have a big goal, be willing to take the steps to get there by acknowledging each step along the way. It's much easier.
So important, very important. And to think about one goal at a time. You're going to quit smoking, lose weight, and get a boyfriend by the end of January. I mean, that's too hard on ourselves. And that's what we do. We get very excited and all fired up. And then how could anybody do all of that stuff at once? And that's another part that's so discouraging.
Right.
So I think because this is what we teach, we could come up with some tiny steps in a variety of categories that people might be able to take away from this video of, oh, I could do that. So if we give them things, depending on what subject they pick, that they want to do something differently, they could use some of the tools that we teach. You
Absolutely.
think it's a fun thing to do?
I think it's a good idea. And one other thing I'll say also is that, yes, setting up all these goals at once can be a bit of a challenge. The one thing about goals is once you start getting clear about where you're going, as I think it's the Goethe quote says about, like, if you want to start something, begin it now because Providence moves with you. Meaning that if you have a goal that's really big, that's out there, and you start taking steps, you might discover that your goal starts sneaking closer to you. Like, even though your goal is set up, it's going to be 12 months away and I'll be in a whole different thing to get there. But when you discover you start taking the steps, something starts to accelerate the process. You're almost like putting wheels in motion. So even though you're not doing anything necessarily directly at that moment, you're being carried forward faster. So to be concerned that you'll never get everything you want, like, don't be so sure about that.
Yeah.
Be open to the possibilities, because when you move things forward, the results going to appear quicker than you thought. And the side effects can be that because you're focused on one goal, other things start to happen at the same time, almost automatically by resonance.
Yeah, and I think that when you start feeling successful, you start feeling more positive, and then the positive energy just brings more positive energy.
Right.
So certainly where you and I live all day long, every day with our clients is relationships. And what tiny step can you take if you think you would like to be in a loving, caring, monogamous, committed relationship at some point next year? At some point in 2021, not in a month or 6 months, just at some point next year. So some of the tiny steps I've told people is tell a couple friends, I think I'm really ready. I think I'd like to be in a relationship. I think I'm going to be just thinking about it and looking around and pondering what it would be like to be in a relationship, and what would I like about that, and what would be a benefit to me, and what kind of a person would I like, and not joining a dating app or joining a meetup or, doing something social. It's just thinking about it, because it's amazing how it's going to bring up the stuff that maybe has you a little about it. And that's really good to know. But the other thing, how you said how people cooperate, that they'll be going, oh, I know somebody. Oh, I could introduce you to somebody. Or I know somebody who would know somebody, that they conspire to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. For me, I actually have an online course that basically has 8 modules all designed to do this. So they're about creating a relationship. But so a couple of things I'll pull out of there in a more general term is one of the things that sounds so simple. Again, I mentioned at the beginning about how intention needs to be affirmative. So creating affirmations for yourself in the area you're focusing on, and you can do it in all areas if you choose to, but what area you're focusing on, that are positive, in the moment, and inclusive, because these are key things, by the way, can really set the wheels in motion. So having affirmations you put on your mirror in the bathroom or on the dashboard in your car that states something like, I am enjoying the experience of being in an amazing relationship. Present moment, inclusive, positive.
Yeah.
Those sort of things, yes, they'll also bring up your stuff, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But they start putting things into your mindset. So, because one of the things I talk with my clients a lot is about embodiment energy practices, things that really create the physical feeling level, what it would be like. So yes, I also guide my clients to spend time sitting with the experience, like to almost imagine themselves. And if you don't think you can picture things, you can, trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Imagining how it feel like to be with that perfect person. You don't need to see their face. You're not trying to identify the person, but the experience of being in that relationship. How would it feel after they went to work that day? How would it feel when you woke up next to them? Things like that can be very viscerally charged, which is good. So the affirmations and those two things, those two things alone are going to be massively shifting for a lot of people, because they think about only a relationship. They're so disassociated from it. They've never taken any thoughts about what would it feel like to be there. So
yes.
So I'm all about that.
Oh, putting yourself in the place is so important. And what I've encouraged my clients to do is clean out a drawer and leave it empty. You've made space just in this very physical, visual way to include somebody in your life. And you organized a drawer. It's like this extra little bonus, because they come back and they go, oh, I really needed to clean out that drawer anyway. And I found other places for that stuff. And then I cleaned out the drawer, I put that stuff in, and their life starts feeling expansive in such a positive way. And I said, and this is a way that you're really opening your life to include somebody.
Yep.
Because we don't realize part of the protection that we fill up our life with things and people and activities that doesn't leave room for a special person to come in if that's really what they think they want, because they think they're going to make room for them when they show up. And that's not very fair.
Way around.
Yes, you really need to make space first. And so if you think one of your goals is to declutter a little, then start with a drawer. And the reason you're empty, nothing in it drawer is that you're making space for a person at the same time. And it has felt so, I go, does that feel attainable? And they go, oh yeah, I could do that. And they do it. It's been really fun. It's just a tiny little step. And then I go, and I want you to go look at that empty drawer every day and go, look what I did. I emptied that drawer and I'm making space for a person to come into my life. So you get like good kudos for doing it, right?
Absolutely. Of course, if you want to step it up another notch,
Yeah.
ladies,
Oh, yeah.
look at your closet.
Oh, the closet.
Because that one is the big one. Because I mean, I'm going to say it this way. Generally speaking, for a lot of my clients, the drawer is an easier access point than the closet is, because the closet's so full of stuff. Because ladies, you like your clothes, I understand that, your shoes and everything else. So making a little bit of room in those places is a key part. This, I mean, you can read books on feng shui that teach you about how to make room in your life and your home for a relationship. You know, make sure your bed is going to have room for two people, for example. Like having two bedside tables and two lamps, so it makes the bed designed for two people. Things like that. Because a lot of people they go, I've got a relationship, and they look at your house and go, you got a king size bed, but it's only like one bedside table, or they're uneven or something like that. It's like create balance in your home to create the space to attract relationships. So there's so many things you can do in your own home, your own life, without going out the door, that can transform your availability for a relationship.
Yeah. And closets, because sometimes they can't get over of their things in the closet. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, but the drawer is a great place to start, and then definitely the closet.
Yeah.
And your activities, and this is such a good time to think about it, because hopefully we're going to be able to start doing activities in person. So what kind of activities would feel that you could include another person, or that you would go to a place where there are going to be other people of the kind that you would like to meet? Because if you only do lady book clubs, or you only do golf guys, that's not leaving space. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things. I'm saying add something else that is inclusive of whoever it is, the kind of person that you think you want to be in a relationship with. Because otherwise, where will they fit in your life?
Absolutely.
How will you meet them?
Yeah, that
if you
it's
go in your house and shut your garage, you're really not going to meet them.
And yeah, we are dealing with a challenge at this point in time, where we're in the middle of, we're still going through a process in California right now of being extremely constrained and limited in that sense. But the other part is when you do go out in the world, because ideally, if you get out of the house once a day at least to do something, whether it's going to go to the grocery store, if you're going to go for a drive or for a walk or something, when you get out of the house, look around.
Yeah.
So many people are so in their own world, looking at your phone. I mean, I say I go for a walk every day up in the hills. And I sometimes let people walk into me because they're so busy looking at their phone. They don't see me 10 feet in front of them. So be willing to look up. Because we've got this bad habit of having phones in our faces now, which is another thing that makes it harder to meet people. So even though you're out in the world and maybe you're walking around and people got masks on, looking at your phone doesn't help. So seeing what's around you.
Yes.
Have your phone in your pocket or in your purse, and just observe and enjoy the world around you, because you never know what you might see or who you might meet.
And what I find, because I go on walks pretty much every day, is, when I'm near somebody, yes, we wear masks, but I still go, did you see that view? Did you see, the snow on the mountains? I'm really glad I don't live in the snow, but I'm really happy to look at it. It's gorgeous. And you would miss that if you have your phone in your face. And you would miss this even with a mask on, in interaction with another person. I mean, we get out of the habit.
Yeah.
It's really an important habit to exercise. It's a muscle that's important. to interact. I mean, I have been this way since I was a kid. I chat with the people at Costco on the other side of the gas pump. You know, what made you pick that kind of car? Wow, wasn't that crazy rainstorm the other day? While I'm doing my toe exercises, which they all go, what are you doing? I go, well, I fell on my foot. Well, that's a whole nother conversation. And
Right there.
I'm going to do my toe exercises while I'm standing at this gas pump. That you look for opportunities to interact with other people at the grocery store, at the dry cleaners. So it's hard. I talked to the dry cleaner, but she doesn't let more than one person in at a time because I used to stand and talk to the other customers. That came.
Right. Yeah. It's all
But
spread out.
look for ways to get connected with people, because if you're spending too much time alone, wow, when you do get a chance to like meet somebody on Zoom or hopefully meet people in person, you're going to be all out of sorts and all out of practice and feel extra uneasy about doing that, which is, it's a hard enough thing to talk to people in the first place. But if you could stay in practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're going to go out for a walk, to just hi, even across the street, wave, hello, good morning, good afternoon, Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. I mean, this year, this time of year, it's easy to find something to say to a perfect stranger.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, I know for myself, even though we are wearing masks a lot in stores and things, I mean, I'm always greeting the check, people at the check stands and the grocery people, because I mean, that store I've been going to for years. So even though with the mask on, we still recognize each other, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's having the understanding that it's worth being social, having a interpersonal availability is a gift a lot of people have forgotten how to do. This lockdown for some people has been a great excuse to be a hermit, which I understand. I can be very much alone if I want to be. But taking time out to just be out in the world and seeing people is additive. I definitely feel that. And it is challenging with the mask on and with wearing sunglasses when it's sunny in LA, which it is today. So you don't necessarily see their face as much as you'd like to. It's still the energy. You can feel that person's energy. You can still beam them your joy, even though you can't like smile at them or anything else because you got covered up. But it's that activity or energetic of being visible and being seen that makes it more easy for you to meet somebody new. As you said, even on Zoom or some other way to meet somebody new, you're not having to hit the hurdle of getting to be interactive with somebody first. You've already got that hurdle taken care of. So when you meet somebody new, it's a different, less challenging experience.
Less hard.
Yes.
Really in the dating arena, I just don't use the word easy very much because most of it is, I just go, we'll make it less hard.
That works.
Yeah. Because it's whenever you're doing anything new, I think, at least for me, it has been most things new have a hard element. They just do. And how can we make it less hard? How can we make it more enjoyable? How we can make it more rewarding, more productive feeling?
Yeah.
And it feels less hard. And then pretty soon it's not hard anymore at all because you've practiced it so much. So
exactly.
Yes, chatting up people, waving at people, any opportunity that you can take, especially right now, because we're so a deficit of human interaction and human contact. Even the most introverted people that I know, and I know some very they're feeling it. And us poor extroverts, oh, please, it's just been this. So to look for chances to say hello or wave, even just wave, like you get to exchange. And I'm a big waver. I'm a big hello. And not everybody interacts with me. Oh, I'm okay with that. But I'll tell you 8 out of 10 easily. So I get 8 hi backs or wave backs.
And most of the time, if you're in, like, especially in your car, you're in other people in the cars. Most people don't need to wear masks in their cars unless you're an Uber driver or something. So you can at least like smile at somebody across the way who's in their car because you're not hidden behind a mask.
Yes. Oh, I do. I wave at people. Do I know you?
Of course you do.
Of course I do, because it's who I am.
Right.
So also to think about with anything that you want to change, to just emphasize that little bites, big rewards, appreciation where you've been. So if you decide you want to do something different with your job or start a new business, or as we've talked, lose weight, quit smoking, tiny bites, tiny little bites, and lots of rewards. And also I'm going to reiterate, look at why. Why did you start in the beginning, and what can you do so that you will feel like it's not taking your right arm off, that you
Right.
will still have a right arm. You're just going to do it differently.
Yeah.
Because I think some people feel that way for the reasons, really good reasons, that they started doing whatever the thing is they've decided isn't working for them now.
Usually that's the case. At the time, it made sense, but of course, who we are now and who we were then are two different people.
Yes.
In fact, one thing I would say also is if you're a little stuck on how to set up clear intentions or affirmations that aren't negative, that maybe you want to put in a positive way, one practice I give my clients, which is again is in my online course, is you start by looking at what it is about the thing you don't want to do anymore that you don't like.
Yeah.
Because obviously the things you did like it, but if you're say for smoking, if like I knew for me when I was younger when I gave up smoking, it's because I hated the smell of my clothes, I hated having to go buy them all the time, and I hated how my breath stank after I smoked. That made it very easy to give it up, by the way.
I bet. Those are good reasons.
But also the side effect of that is that then if you're in a place where you're going through something where you have a difficult time giving something up, maybe it's an addiction or a habit that's so strong it's hard to walk away from. Look at the things that didn't work for it, or in fact that don't work for you now.
Mm-hmm.
Key thing is you look at those lists and you go, those I don't like. So here's the trick. Take those things that are negative, each statement, and flip them around to a positive quality of what you want to create. So if you hated the smell of your breath after smoking, which I did, then a way of doing an affirmation or an intention saying, I love how my breath smells fresh every day, for example. So by changing the script and flipping the negative to positive, you actually create a basis for building your positive languaging and the intention of where you want to go towards. So if you're giving up something, as in letting something go, then what is it you want to embrace and replace it with going forward? So something with the languaging alone can be a big, an easy and accessible way to shift the focus point to where you want to create new reality.
So if anyone is thinking about, I want to make some sort of a change, they could reach out to either of us and we could come up with lots of positive affirmations for them.
Okay, practice.
Everything. If you really think you want to make a change, then let us help you come up with the positive reasons. Yeah, I started for 6 months before a horse fell on my leg. Said, I have never been a very flexible person. It's just not physically in my makeup. And I thought, wow, I'm going to just keep getting more stiff and this isn't good. So I found a video that I did every day. I did an hour and a half every day of this yoga video.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. For me, I got really flexible, really strong, and really fit feeling in a way that I'd run and, done jazzercise and all that stuff in a different way than I'd ever felt before.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend, I have permission to start trying to do it again. It was amazing. And it was another one of those things where, I did it for 3 weeks and I'm like, am I making any progress? But then I had to stop and go, well, what could I do in the beginning and what can I do now?
Yeah.
It was different. I really noticed that. And after 6 months, I could sit between my feet on the floor. I'd never done that in my entire life.
Very nice. Very nice.
I know. It was very exciting. And so in that way to think, I want my life to be better in this way. And what way can I do that? What activity can I do? What thought press can I do? What people could I include in my life that I want this better thing? Mm-hmm. So it was amazing. And then this video show, I didn't even say it. I think, Siri is listening when you talk, but I just got it. And this video, flexibility for the inflexible, I would buy that. Isn't it funny how that just shows up? So have an intention.
Well, that's the thing, was the intention is what attracted it in. You know what you're looking for, but it's like confirm what you asked for. So that's the other part also is be aware, be conscious and noticing what's going on, because sometimes you say, I want something, and you're focusing so clearly on what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, what you really want is over here going, excuse me, I can come help you.
Like the people that watch our videos every week and they think, oh, should I call them? Should I write to them?
We do tell you can.
So we're going to tell you how you can, because Cece's ready for us to close. Gosh, it's too much fun talking to you. I never want to stop. So
I appreciate it.
I would just love to talk to you about what you think you would like to be different and better and make you happier in the new year. And the way to reach me is through my website, www.theperfectcatch.com. And you click on what's holding you back from love. loving yourself even. That's what we've been talking a lot about in this particular podcast. And you can also reach me through email. It's Christine@theperfectcatch.com, and through Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and what are the other things?
Pinterest,
Instagram.
and
Instagram. That was the other one I was having. That's how I keep track of my great nieces and nephews is Instagram. And Barry, please tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Certainly. So my name is Barry Selby, and as I mentioned at the beginning, pretty much everything around me is my name. I don't have another brand at this point. That's coming. So my website is barryselby.com, so you can click on that and check out all the stuff I offer on my site, including the online course I mentioned, which is called Attract the Man You Want. Great title, makes it easy to understand what it does. But if you click on the first item in the navigation bar, it says Let's Chat. And you can sign up for a conversation with me, schedule it on my calendar, and we can have a conversation. Or you can just drop me an email at barry@barryselby.com. My social media, basically, it's all Barry Selby. Like YouTube is Barry Selby, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn is all Barry Selby. But if you find me on Instagram, it's the real Barry Selby, just so you know there. And on Facebook, my business page is the one you want to find, which is barryselby.author. So that's how you can find me.
Perfect. Well, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too.
Hope you have a really nice time over the weekend I'm looking forward to your gorgeous pictures.
The weather's nice now.
I'm a photographer taking pictures out there. It's so fun. And we'll be back on our normal Thursday starting next week.
Yes, in the new year on Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Sorry, 4 p.m. East Coast time, 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
And we'll talk about dating.
And we'll talk more about dating. Bye for now.
See you later.